Hi everyone. Cheers. I'm a glass half full or maybe glass half empty guy today. Cheers. Ran out of time and I didn't get a chance to make myself another coffee. And that's kind of cold. Um, there you go. It's not like riding a bike. No, I don't have a bike here. I should have brought a bike. I'm not going to do a bike in front of everyone. Lachlan. But as I expected, I came in this morning and OBS had decided that it didn't know where my monitors were. Oh, by the way, how's the audio? Does the audio sound okay? Let's see how much lag there is in the chat. I hope the audio is coming through. You hearing me? Is it clear? Cool, I have a new microphone. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. Yes, got in this morning and OBS had decided to completely shut itself. And yeah, so it didn't recognize my camera, or any of my cameras, didn't recognize my desktops. It recognized my audio, which was nice. So yeah, it's kind of like, you know, riding a bike. What does this button do? Explode. Not that there are any buttons on bikes. Anyway, the point is, cool. Ooh, that's a little smoother, but maybe not as full. Okay, so it's actually here. I've gone back to using okay, this is going to be awkward. Hang on. Hopefully that muted. I been having problems recording stuff on my Rode microphone that's on my bench. I don't know why. It's 50-50 whether it works well or not, and it looks like it's working. And you know, I go and look at the video afterwards, and the audio just sounds terrible. And so I caved, and I got myself a new wireless microphone set up, and it's a Holy Land one, and comes in a case like this, and it's got I'm not going to pull this one out. It's got multiple mics, so two mics. Oh shit! It just connected. Little green light came on. Anyway, it's got two mics in there. That's the charging case, which is cool. Much better than yeah, it'll be great when I walk around. Much better than the other ones where I had to charge both sides, and I couldn't charge it when it was connected to the computer. So if I forgot to disconnect it, it wouldn't charge, and it just wouldn't connect anymore for some reason. So this thing has, it connects to my computer, which it's got right now, and that receiver stays permanently there. But it's also got comes with a connector for my camera, and it comes with another one that can be plugged into the bottom of my phone. So it's pretty cool, and apparently it's got a 300-meter range. Yeah, like I believe that. But anyway, it's got a charge case, so I go downstairs, and I can switch the microphone out if one goes dead and whatever. So I did a test the other day, yesterday. Was it yesterday? Whatever day it was, Monday, yesterday, Tuesday. God, I can't remember. Walked around the place, went downstairs, did a whole lot of rattling of stuff and making stacks of noise. It's got noise cancelling on it, and I recorded myself doing all this, and I came back, and the audio was just fantastic, and it didn't pick up any of that rubbish. So yeah, I've now got, as long as I remember to use it, I've got a wireless mic now, so I can move around better, and you'll be able to hear me better. Warning you all now, apologize in advance. I'm still sick. This is week 4. I'm going to be breaking out, coughing sometimes. I'm really struggling with my throat and my breathing still. This is by far the worst case of COVID that I had out of the 3. And almost didn't stream again. Like, I almost cancelled last night again because I've just, yeah, it's not been good. But so if I get to the mute button, if I get to the mute button in time, awesome. And if I don't, I apologize. It's going to be, well, we'll get to see how good the noise cancelling is, right? If I break out coughing. So yes, oh, and they're also magnetic, which is cool. So it's a magnetic clip, and so I can plug it into things, connect it to things that are magnetic, and walk around with it, like, and move it and whatever. I don't know how well that sounded when I picked it up. Click. Really strong magnets too. So anyway, I'm excited for hopefully better audio now. But what I'm not excited for is I had nothing planned for the stream today. Sorry. I tried yesterday, getting on vitamin D and B for the... I've taken lots of vitamins. I've been taking all sorts of stuff. I think... So I was sick before I got COVID. I was sick for a week before I got COVID. And that was actually turning into a sinus infection. I get those 2 or 3 times a year. And then I got COVID while I had the start of a sinus infection. I think it just doubled down on me, and it's just been it's been a long recovery. Sorry. It'll hopefully settle down, but I'm sure the talking is not going to help. So I was trying to get some stuff organized to work on today, but I didn't get a chance. And the things that I have been doing over the last week, I'm 1 week away from announcing / launching the surprise thing that the secret thing that I've been working on for quite a while. And I was hoping to be ready for this stream, but I'm not. I'm still a week away, unfortunately, because I actually took a lot of time off work, a lot more time off work than I've ever done, I think, in my life. I was completely away from here for like 3 or 4 days, and then I only came in here for like an hour or 2 hours a day for about a week, like all over the place, just to get some orders out and stuff. And yeah, I'm just so far behind, So I apologize. It might end up being that it would have been better I didn't stream today. I don't know. So, but there is some exciting stuff. Well, I think it's exciting. Next week I'll be able to talk about it. I'm hoping to I want to get an announcement video done. It's screaming for an announcement video, but as I said, I'm just struggling to get anything done right now. So, but I got some cool stuff to show. I'll definitely have some cool stuff to show next week. And I didn't want to just do a SQUiXL stream this week, because I've done enough of those, I think, for the time being. Although I do have some cool stuff to show if people want to see, just things I've been working on the firmware. But yeah. And then I thought about, on the stream today, rethinking my Bling board, which is something that's been on the back of my mind for a while. So you all know what my Bling board is, right? I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I feel like I should. I feel I need to do it. I just don't know if I'm going to do it on stream. It's going to be frustrating. So that's my Bling. Oh, that's my Bling, right? Which is the LEDs at the front and all the electronics on the back on a single PCB, so double-sided PCB. And it's a feat of, it's a masterpiece, the fact that I managed to get all of this on the back and be able to place and route all of the LEDs at the front. Honestly, sometimes I just I look at it and go, how did I do that? And I remember how I did it, with lots of revisions and lots of perseverance to prove to myself that I could. The problem with Bling is it's not a high failure rate, manufacturing failure rate, but there is a manufacturing failure rate on it. Once it's assembled, it can't be reworked. And it can't be cleaned because it's got a MEMS microphone on it. And some of you might remember that when I first designed the Bling board, the first 3 batches that I made, the microphones were failing and I couldn't work out why. And it's because I was cleaning the boards. I'd never really worked with I'd worked with MEMS devices before, but not on boards where I was producing lots of them and cleaning them. And so you can't ultrasonically clean a MEMS device. I know that now. Quite a bit on how fast you are getting some software ready for boards. It takes ages to get anything going. I'm not using IDF directly, no. I'm doing Arduino, Platform.io, and MicroPython for SQUiXL at the moment. And to me, it doesn't feel like it's fast at all. I wish I was doing it faster. I definitely procrastinate when I'm doing the software. So I probably lose maybe 1 in 10 or 1 in 12 boards, and that's expensive. I mean, these LEDs are expensive, and all the parts on the back. So, like, you know, it just means that I don't make enough on my Bling boards because of the failures. Like, I'm out at the moment, and I've got some people in the wait list waiting for Bling boards, and I've got boards here. I've got all the components here, but I just don't want to make them because I know that if I make 3 panels of them, right, I'm bound to lose 2 or 3 boards, and it almost wipes out the profit for the whole run. Almost, not quite, but it reduces it enough that it's just not worthwhile me doing it. So here's an example of what happens. This is actually a fixed board. I just wanted to see. You might be able to see there's discoloring in the corner. You can see the LEDs, they've gone orangey. So these LEDs that I use, these 1x1 millimeter LEDs that have got that really nice, God, I can't even think of the name, what it is, but the diffuser on top, that really nice white diffuser that makes the color on the LEDs look amazing. But the downside is they discolor if you try to, if you heat them up from the outside, or if you get any flux on them, they discolor. And so no, it's more of a diffuser than a lens. It doesn't have any optical other than the translucency of it. So, and it's discolored, and I can't clean it. Like, I've tried manually cleaning them with, you know, cleaner and a brush, and it doesn't work, and I can't ultrasonically clean it because of the microphone. So what I was thinking of doing with Bling was, I've already got a version of Bling that's just the LEDs with nothing on the back, just pads on the back. I was thinking of separating Bling into 2 boards, an LED board and a component board that attach together. And that way they can also be separated, and you could use the controller board to drive any LEDs, and you could use the LEDs at the front to be controlled by anything else, right? The thing is, the way this is all integrated, you know, with the USB facing back and the buttons on it and everything, I started thinking, well, would the buttons go on the LED board or the board behind it? If they go on the LED board, that'll still make it the same as what it is now. They'll work with all the cases I've got, but then I have to not just route power in one data line, but I have to route a whole bunch of stuff for the buttons. And it just makes more sense to keep it just on a single board, putting all the components on just a board and just the LEDs at the front. So, sorry, I'm trying to do this away from the microphone, and I just looked into my microphone when I coughed. I apologize. It's going to take some getting used to, remembering that it's there. Sorry about that. if I blew anyone's ears. How did that noise cancelling work at all? It mostly muted it. Awesome. Good. I'm glad. I feel better now because that's yeah. So, and there's a few other things I wanted to do. So right now I'm using JST PH connectors, one for the battery and one for the speaker. I chose the PH because generally bigger batteries use the PH connector and smaller batteries use the 1.25 millimeter, the what I call a pico blade connector. It's actually a, I don't even know, I can't remember what the designator is for JST, but it's not something that JST made popular. It's something that Molex made popular. Mutant Dunny time. Yes, yeah. Or if I go down to make another coffee, Microfit. No, it's Pico Blade. It's so Molex have got a Pico Blade range, and it's a 1.25 millimeter. They all do all the different pitch, whatever, but the connectors I use are Pico Blade. So the ones that are on my my Pro S3, or the ones that are on my SQUiXL, like for the battery there and for the speaker there, they're Pico Blade connectors, those particular type for Molex, although these are Asian brand ones. I think I want to change them to be the smaller connectors, because I can always do an adapter for a small to a bigger battery. I can supply one of those. I've got thousands of them. But if I go to a smaller connector, it means I can I can ship these with the speakers that I use, like in SQUiXL or whatever. So it can have audio straight out the box. So when people turn it on, like I do with SQUiXL, they can say, hello. Anyway, so I'm thinking of separating the two and making two PCBs. And that would allow me to, well, I could even leave the electronics as they are, literally, because there's nothing wrong with the way they're all laid out. But there's actually more room to put more on here if I wanted to. Like I could add I could add a fuel gauge on here. So my fuel gauges tripled in price about a month ago. I had a very bad shock. I just prepared. Yeah, it'd be nice to ship it with a speaker. I mean, I could ship it with a speaker that uses the PH connector, like a big speaker, but they're like really expensive. I mean, these are $3 each US. These are not cheap speakers. They're not, but they're really good sounding, good quality speaker for what they are, for a sideways speaker. They've got amazing sound. I mean, they're not high fidelity speaker, but then again, this is not a high fidelity audio player, right? But it'd be nice to ship it with something, especially when people are ordering it with a case. I could ship it inside the case already mounted, rather than ship the case separately and people put it together. Anyway, so I just remembered I haven't said hi to folks in chat. I told you, it's like not like riding a bike. I can't remember what I'm doing. So I just saw that Emery came in and said hello, and so did Dave Harris. So I thought I'm going to go back and just, not that there are many people. Not many people. That's okay. So Graham, good morning. If you're still rocking, if you've still got internet. Lachlan, hi. Dutch Taurus, hello. AJ, quack. Johnny is here and he's hot as hell. You've been a naughty boy and you in hell, are you? Beata, hello. Bruce, hi. David Essa, hello. Sean. Hello, Sean. Platinum 21, what have you been chatting with? Jerk is here. Hello, Reed. Hello, Reed. Long time, yes. I was thinking about you the other day. I saw your name scroll past in my Discord DMs. I was thinking about you, wondering if you're off in your aeroplane, flying around the place. Dave, hello. Emery, hi. 40 degrees this afternoon. Wow. We've been pretty cold here. I've had a couple of 1 degree, 2 degree, 4 degree days, mornings that have been a bit nasty. But it doesn't get as cold here as it does in Europe, I know. But 40 is pretty hot. Wow. Back in your away from home apartment. Isn't that also technically your home? 2 homes, multiple homes. They're still your home, I hope. Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking of doing. Right, I was talking about fuel gauges. So I integrated fuel gauges into some things and realized I only had like about 1,200 or so left. So I went to, there are a few things I've got that have got fuel gauges on them. Not everything, but like my SQUiXL has fuel gauges on them. My OMG S3 has fuel gauges on them. Excuse me, there was a couple of other things I was making that had fuel gauges on them. And so I went to order more, and they had tripled in price. No, the best price I could get tripled in price. If I just went to Mauser or DigiKey to buy them, they were between 4 and 5 times the price. Blew my mind. We're talking about, you know, they're not a 3-cent item. They're a, you know, they were a 60-cent US dollar item, and they're now in quantities under 1,000, they're now like $4. And when you consider that if I have a board like my OMG S3, which I have a retail price and a wholesale price, that extra cost on the fuel gauge wipes out my profit on the wholesale price, like wipes it out. Anyway, I reached out to everyone I knew, all the people I've ever dealt with that I've bought components from, and one of my suppliers managed to source me some at 3 times the price, warned me that might not be able to get more at that price after that. So I bought another 3,000 of them, which is all I could really get off them, unfortunately, at that time. And now I'm trying to source some more. But how's that for a nasty surprise? That for no reason that I can understand. It's not a tariff thing. And it's a analog. Does Max do analog devices? Who does the Max 17048? And wherever it is, it's like they're a US company. I just don't understand why they've gone up so much. Sorry. So anyway, that was a rude shock. So I just thought to myself, hey, I can add a fuel gauge on here. Then I thought, maybe not. And then I had another thing that happened to me. This all happened while I was sick, right? So I was run down, like really run down, and I was really grumpy, right? And then I get told, drone used by thousands in a recent. I have no idea. I mean, it could be it doesn't look like it's a supply issue because there are plenty of stock in normal channels, or look like plenty of stock in normal channels. Maybe and I don't know, those conflicts would have been using those same parts for the last 2 years, right? So I don't think it's specifically for that. There could be like a supply demand issue. I don't know. So I'm sick, I'm run down, I'm grumpy, and I get the news about that, and then I go to order my eMMC chips that I use on my storage shield, because I've been selling a few storage shields. I've had like 2 or 3 customers have been buying, like every time I release more, they buy all of them. And so Kingston are no longer selling this eMMC chip. Within a 3-month period since my last order, they've obsoleted it, and there's no stock anywhere, and they're not making any more. And their replacement eMMC is 2.5 times the price. So exactly the same specs, 16 gig, 2.5 times the price. And so you'd imagine that eMMC doesn't start cheap, right? Like it was already an $8 chip, right? $8 US chip, and now it's 20. I mean that's how much I sell the board for. Hey Technublis, how you doing? So I've been searching everywhere to try to find. So eMMC's gone up everywhere as well, and I definitely know there's no flash shortage issues right now, supply chain issues. Hey Alan, how you doing? Well, not that I've noticed. I mean, flash prices are still down or dropping, and you know it's not affecting anywhere else. But so I can't find any eMMC that even comes close to a price of this where I can sell these boards at a reasonable price. I do have some samples of some SanDisk eMMC coming. The problem with the SanDisk is it's actually a much lower rated chip, so its IOPS are lower, much lower, and it's the speed of it is like half the speed. I don't think the speed will be an issue because I don't like it's only using 4-bit data bus anyway, and it's probably not it's probably not using the maximum bandwidth on the chip on this anyway. Like, no, probably not even close. But the SanDisk is a 50 megabyte per second chip. This is an 80 megabytes per second chip that can be boosted to 133. I don't think I was getting 80 on here. But anyway, but even the SanDisk is 1.8 times the price. And so like so someone emailed me, one of the customers that buys a lot of them, and says, hey, when are you getting them back in stock? We need some more. And I said straight up, look, I can't get them anymore. I can't get these chips and I can't find anything to replace it. I said, you know, I don't even know if I'm going to make these now because of the price difference. Like I said to them, would you, you know, I normally sell them for $19, $19.90, I think. And I don't make a lot of money on those because like I'm already spending almost $10 just on the chip, right? So I said to them, like, would you pay $29.90 for the same board with the same feature set? And they came back to me and said that they would because that extra $10 won't make a difference for their project. But I don't think I'm going to sell many of them if I have to increase the price that much. So yeah, that also happened while I was sick. And I thought to myself, really? Like, does everyone out there know that I'm sick right now? And while I'm down, they're just going to like, you know, what's next? Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. So, sorry. Those that joined late, I'm still not well. As I said, this is week 4. Week 4 of, I mean, I don't have COVID anymore. Like, I don't test positive anymore. But week 4 since I got COVID, and I got COVID a week after I first got sick. So I was already sick when I got COVID. I do have some exciting news. Oh, I just realized I can walk around now. Hey, yay. Oh, I've got so many stories to tell you of all the wonderful things that have happened while I've been sick. I don't want to turn this into a negative stream. Like, okay, I'll tell you all about it. It's pretty cool. Not. But like not in a negative thing, just in a this happened to me type thing. Start with the good news. I finally got, not that you'll be able to see it, but these are the final ESP32 P4 chips. When I say final, these are the ones going to mass production. So, I know it's been a long time since the P4 was announced, and, you know, we've spoken about the P4 before and whatever, but, oh, interesting. Can you hear the truck? The rubbish guy's here. I was curious to know if it's cancelled, if it's cancelling all that noise or not. So, There's a lot of ESP32 P4 products floating around right now already, but they're not using final silicon. They're using sample silicon, and they're using silicon that isn't the final. No truck? Awesome. So it's a really good microphone. I was hoping it would be. So yeah, they're a very popular brand, and this is a second generation, and the first generation apparently was really good. So I was quite excited to get these. So yeah, there's a lot of products floating around right now. Like, you know, there's some those cheap yellow display boards that have got P4s on them, and some other things that have got P4s on them, and even the board that you get from Espressive. Like even these things, the evaluation board, these are not running final silicon, right? These are running slightly later. When you speak, there is a slight sound of reverse beep on the truck. Okay, cool. Even these are not using the final silicon, but they're using a later version of it. But all the silicon that was around that people were able to get and use on their products was sample silicon. It was engineering sample stuff. And there are features on them that aren't active, and they never will be, because the chips have been changed and all sorts of stuff. So I kept putting off, like every time I had the opportunity to get samples, I said, are these going to go to mass production? No, these aren't going to mass production. There's going to be another revision, another revision, another revision, whatever. I can't tell you how many revisions. Finally, I got the thumbs up that these are the ones going to mass production. This or a dot point different on them. It'll be like a change on the PCN or something else, whatever. So I finally got chips here that I can work with. I still have to come up with something that's interesting to use them for. These are the 32. So there's a 16 megabyte PSRAM version and a 32 megabyte PSRAM version. Hey John, how you doing? These are the 32 megabytes. So 32 megabyte of octal PSRAM. The problem is they use 1.8 volt PSRAM, which means you have to pair it with 1.8 volt flash, not 3.3 volt flash. So I've got some very nice flash chips on the way. Well, it won't really be a tiny P4. The chip itself doesn't fit on a tiny board. Not really. Yeah, it's a bit of a squeeze. Yeah, no, not really. Maybe on a Pro S3, like a Pro P4, maybe. But yeah, can't get it. It won't fit on a tiny board. They're a big chip, and then there's a lot of stuff to go with them. But anyway, I've got some nice flash chips coming. Some large flash chips coming, as in large capacity, 1.8 volts. Just some samples of, bought 5 of them or something. So I'm getting stuff together that I can prototype with. So while I was sick, my X1 Carbon decided it wasn't going to print anymore. It would get through randomly a certain number of layers of a print and then stop extruding, but not fail to print, but not fail. So it would just keep printing with nothing coming out, right? So no error. I didn't get any notification of an error if I wasn't like remotely watching it or whatever. So while I was sick, I'd come in and I'd, as I said, I'd come in for like an hour, I'd pack a couple of orders, I'd kick off a print, and I'd go home. And then, would occasionally remember to remote in to check if the printer's going okay or not. Anyway, I lost so many prints. I lost so many hours. Probably like a lot of the prints I do for Squixle are like 7 or 8 hour prints, right? So if the print fails, I lose that 8 hours of printing, and I lose however much filament. Anyway, I cleaned the gears, cleaned the extruder. I tried to get going. It would work a little bit, but then it would stop. I'd get one good print out of it, and then 3 bad prints out of it. It was really frustrating. I ordered some parts, some replacement parts from Bamboo. And this is last week. Last week, I ordered the parts on the Monday. By Thursday, they hadn't even shipped yet, right? And it was infuriating. And so, but on the Wednesday, so some of you might know Bamboo had a pretty big sale. I was getting so frustrated with it that I ordered another X1 carbon. I really wanted to get the H2D, but H2D wasn't on sale, and the X1 carbon had like $550 off, which is a pretty good price, right? And having two X1 carbons next to each other means I can just have the same files that get done on either printer, and I can whatever, right? I really wanted the extra build volume of the H2D. I don't really need the two nozzles, but it worked out to being twice the price of the X1 carbon, and so I didn't do it. So I ordered an X1 carbon, and so I've got a new X1 carbon sitting downstairs in the box still. I've got total buyer's remorse because I don't want two printers. I didn't really want two printers, but I need a functioning printer. And when one printer goes down and it takes a week to get a spare part. So anyway, they shipped that spare part on the Friday, and I got it yesterday. And so that's like 8 days between it going down and me ordering it and getting the parts. David Krantz. Hello, David. It has been a long time. How are you, mate? Wow. I hope you're well. So yeah, I didn't really want two printers, but it arrived, and the day it arrived, I saw a rumor online about a H1D coming from Bamboo Labs. So same as the H2D, but a single nozzle version, which I would assume would be considerably cheaper than the two nozzle version, but it would be the big build volume, and it would be, so for those that aren't aware, apart from the H2D having a bigger build volume and two nozzles and, you know, the laser add-on stuff, whatever, so I'm not interested in, it's also a much better printer than the X1 Carbon, as in they took a lot of the issues, the longer term issues with X1 Carbon, you know, the degrading color and the nozzle cleaning thing, which fails after a while. It's not very good, and it leaves poop everywhere and stuff. And they fixed all of those problems on the H2D. And so not only does it have a better print quality, like a lot of the, so my printer, you know, it does that resonance frequency thing when you calibrate it, and you get really nice prints, but that degrades after, you know, every 4 or 5 prints. You can start to see that that whole calibration thing is out, and you've got to keep calibrating the printer, where they fixed that on the H2D. Yeah, I know there are lots of rumors. There always is, right? But the rumors of the H2D, by the time they started coming out, was very close to an announcement. And I would have absolutely bought a H1D instead of the X1 Carbon I would have waited, because the extra build, I don't need the extra height, but the extra build volume means I can kick off a print and get a third more stuff out. Like if I kick off a print when I go home at night, it might be a 7-hour print, but the fact is I'm not coming in for another 12 hours. I've got 12 hours I can sit there printing for and it can even be longer. So after 8 hours, it finishes printing, and then it sits there doing nothing for 4 hours, 5 hours till I get into the office the next day, right? That's 5 hours wasted. I could, with a bigger print volume, I could get more, have it print longer and get more. So that's appealing to me. I'd rather do that on a single printer than have two printers I'm running. Two printers means 2 lots of filament, 2 lots of having to swap filament out. It means I have to keep more filament in stock to be able to replace the reels faster, right? No, I know there's still poop. I'm not talking about poop when it changes the filament. I'm talking about bits of poop inside the printer, in the print area, where, because it hasn't cleaned the nozzle properly, because that nozzle cleaner fails after a while. You know, it goes ding, 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 ding over it, and 50-50, like 50% of the time it cleans it off and it's fine. And 50% of the time there's a bit of filament on there, it just can't get off. And it eventually falls into your print. They've fixed all that type of stuff. The HUD has no LiDAR for calibration, but has many sensors that print. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I know that there are people online who've had issues with the HUD, and it's a first generation printer, right? Um, you know, my X1 Carbon here is a first generation of the printer, as in I ordered it when they became available after the Kickstarter. I didn't order one during the Kickstarter. And at that point, it was still the original design. They've changed stacks about the X1 Carbon. Like the new one I've got downstairs, I'm sure if I open it up inside, a lot of the assembly has changed. And you know that because when you go to their instructions on, or how do you change this item, or how do you change that, they have multiple sets of instructions. Or there are instructions online for the newer models. And you can see that the way they route cables is better than what they used to do. The way they terminate the cables is better than what they used to do on my one. A lot of the problems I've had on mine, and I've had to replace a lot of parts on mine, a lot of those things they've improved in the newer versions of the X1C, but they redesigned them completely in the HUD. So, yeah, anyway, whatever. It is what it is. But I can't decide if I'm going to open it or if I'm going to return it. I have I think a 10-day window to return it if I don't open it. So it's only been here a couple of days. I'm kind of sitting and waiting to see if there's any more rumors that pop up. But it was a good deal. As I said, $550 off on the printer with the AMS combo. It was a pretty good deal. And I could have opted and got the AMS Pro or the AMS 2 with it, but I didn't. I just got the normal AMS, made it the same. Sorry. So yeah, that was frustrating, not being able to get reliable prints for a week and not be able to get spare parts delivered in a timely manner, and then cracking the shits and ordering a second printer. It was very much a Xeon thing to do, but I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't on sale. And it was also end of financial year, so you know, a good opportunity to get it and write it off. But although I don't know if I can write it off now. Australia have changed their tax stuff. Anyway. So yeah, it was a pretty shit bit of time to be sick. I'm just looking back in chat to see if I missed anything. I don't think so. Oh, I wish I could tell you all about this next week stuff. But no, I'm going to wait. I'm not pre-announcing. I can't pre-announce. There are reasons. There are reasons beyond me why I can't pre-announce. And you'll all probably go, big deal, when I talk about it. But yeah, whatever. What else can I tell you? I don't know. I feel like I feel like I should have been more prepared for this stream. So sorry, everyone. What do we all want to talk about? We got anything? I'm just looking around my desk. Apart from it being a mess, I'm trying to see if there's anything I've forgotten. Anything cool or whatever that I've forgotten that we could talk about. I can see lots of things we can't talk about. That sucks. I think everyone's gone to sleep in chat. I apologize. How's the milling machine going? It's not getting a lot of use. Hey Peter, by the way, it's not getting a lot of use, but interestingly, what use it has had, the last 3 times I used it manually. As in I didn't set up like a project in Fusion. I had to cut some things and I had to clear some stock on some things and make basically for my my pogo setup for my OMG things, right? Can I get all this come off? So I'm trying to get some plastic off without breaking pogos. Right, almost off. Come on. Shit, don't bend. Right. So I had to make some custom jigs to be able to solder these pogos on. And I do it for these, and I do it for my my Pogo Yo that I sell that have got, I pre-solder the pogos on those as well. And so it was just easier to turn it all on, home it, start the spindle, and then manually jog it around to do it. Like I was using it, like, unfortunately I don't have a whatever they're called. I never got around to designing and making a pendant, and there's a third-party pendant coming anyway, an open source one, so I can use my parts here and make one. And of course I took off the dials of it, you know, where I could manually move it, which I was kicking myself because I could have used that. So I had to just use the jog control from the interface, which is a little bit difficult with the size screen I've got in my fingers. It's easy to miss hit. But anyway, so I'm milling out these things manually by jogging the thing around. And as I was doing it, I thought to myself, oh my God, if Peter could see me now, he'd laugh and call me an idiot. But it was quicker to do that than it was to try to work out a cut sequence in Fusion for it, because it was an odd bit of stock. I had to do it a couple of times on a few different pieces, and it wasn't, the stuff I was cutting into was inside a larger piece, and it would have been too hard to work out how to probe it and then like how to measure it all up. Anyway, so I just did it manually. It was pretty funny. But otherwise, no, it's not getting a lot of use, unfortunately. Bling separation would provide space for a heat sink. Not in between. I wouldn't want a gap. Like I'd want a way to connect them together. Like not through wires, but through and then yeah, a heat sink. Yeah.
Alan Madsen says, how is your Stream Deck going?
It's sitting in the box. I haven't done anything with it since I showed it all, because that stream that I showed it, I haven't streamed since then. I've just been sick, and I just haven't. I've barely been able to keep up with what I had to get done over the last 4 weeks, let alone anything else. So it's not been touched, unfortunately. There's a few plans I had that haven't eventuated over the last little while. Pseudo manual milling all the time. Yeah, it's you do it as well? Okay. It would have been much easier with a pendant, let me tell you. Much easier. Because I kept hitting the wrong line and moved it the wrong direction and whatever. But it was pretty cool. And I was cutting into the I never remember the name of the stuff. The stuff that you gave me, Peter, the white stuff, the whatever. So like I wasn't cutting aluminium or anything with it. Like it was, you know, it didn't matter if I was too deep or if I was taking too much off in one move. It was, you know, I could have chewed through much faster, but it was pretty cool. Oh, sorry everyone. I'm gonna just, I need to mute for a second because I need to sneeze, blow my nose. Oh, sorry. Korean, yeah, that's the one. I can never remember the name of it. So, yeah, it cut through it like butter, so it was fine. But I do have some things I need to CNC as part of that thing that's sitting behind me, and I'm pretty sure I never spoke about. Can everyone see where I'm pointing? So that requires some hybrid 3D printing and CNCing together, as in 3D print that gets a CNC part inserted inside to strengthen the 3D print. And I've got all that designed, but I haven't done anything with it because the thing I want to build, which that's just a test, the thing I want to build is going to cost me about $1,700. Probably more by the time it's completely finished. And I can't afford to spend the money on it for now. So it's just kind of sitting there as an idea that I'll eventually get back to. But there's no point me seeing a whole bunch of aluminium and stuff and 3D printing parts like until I'm actually going to start constructing it and I can confirm that everything's working properly first before I just go out and CNC a whole bunch of things. But did I mention what this was? I can't remember. I might have mentioned to my patrons, but not on the channel. So that thing behind me started when I was trying to decide if I'm staying in the factory, if I was going to sign another lease, or if I was going to move. That
Chad has disconnected.
It's back. It's that thing there is designed to give me movable panels that block that wall. Hey Michael, how you doing? Java Man. You need to change your name to Java Man. So what this is, and this could be a disaster, I don't know. So it's this. And I'll straight up say before anyone comments, I do have a alternate design of this that has mounting support for a stepper motor right here. But it's just silliness, but yes. So what this is, this sits over on my balcony, right? That's what this section here sits on the balcony. And this gives me a 3 width sliding, oh, hang on. There's a sliding ability to build frames out of 2040 extrusion. They just sit on these bearings that are in here, right? And it'll give me the ability to have like a concertina, not really concertina, 3 meter wide frames that will just sit on them and that I can slide open and close. So I could block off a section. There'll always be a 3 meter section blocked off, but then I could, if I opened them, it would cover the whole thing. They'll go all the way to the ceiling. And that would allow me to close off this upstairs area or open it whenever I wanted to without having to try to find something I can hang from the ceiling. I don't want curtains. And the reason I was wanting to do this was because I could build them and frame them in a way that I could put different things in different types of panels inside each section. So I could have translucent panels of whatever, acrylic, what's it called? Not acrylic. Well, anyway, and then I could also do like colored ones or clear, and I could do completely like black opaque panels that, for instance, I could have a black opaque panel behind me that I could be projecting my laser onto rather than onto that back wall. You know what I mean? So I could customize it and kind of have different things depending on how I slide it and where I put it. But it was all about being able to separate and close off. I love that this is open. I love that I can look down here, like when the line's running and I'm upstairs, I can hear it. So I can look down here and I can see it's running, or if there's an error, well done, Sion. Knock everything off the shelf. If there's an error, I can look downstairs, I can see what's flashing, right? I can kind of quickly monitor it without running downstairs. So I like the fact that it's open, but because it's open, I can't keep it cool or hot. So like right now, we're in winter, and if I put the heater on, hot air rises, the heat spreads out. And so I'm heating that side of the roof, which is a bigger area than this here, and I've got no way of stopping that from happening because I've got no way of blocking this off. The same thing when it's, you know, during summer and I've got the air conditioning on, it spills into there because cold air drops, and so I lose all the ability to cool in here, right? So I need a way of separating it, but I wanted it to not be permanent. And so I came up with this idea. So I built a whole bunch of these. I 3D printed a whole bunch of these. They're really strong. These are printed with ABS and whatever, but I'm still concerned with all the weight from these things that there could be some flex, and it could eventually, there's not a lot holding it, right? They're sitting on here. So it's literally just, it's sitting, and there's nothing really preventing it tipping other than the thickness of these. So what I did is I designed, hey Matt, cool, morning. So what I did is I designed a cutout where an aluminium plate goes inside it, and so this gets like, you know, contoured and inset, and I've got some 7mm thick aluminium that'll get inserted inside that, and that'll, you know, it's sure it's a soft metal, but that'll give some rigidity to it. I hope it'll give rigidity to it, but I'm not going to run in and do all that stuff because just the extrusion alone is like $1,400. And then I was trying to find panels to go inside them, and because of the size, I wanted single panels. Like I could get, so that single panels are really expensive. You know, like $70, $80 just for a sheet of one section, and I need, you know, I need 13, 16 sections, like a lot of money, right? And I can get them much cheaper if they're smaller, but then I have to put more aluminium framing in, which makes it heavier. And so my idea was to build one panel, like one 3-meter wide one, and get it on there and buy what I need to kind of fill it and see how it, you know, like I don't want to come to work one day and I walk up here and the panel has gone and fallen and smashed on the ground downstairs and broken everything, you know what I mean? But I need to test it to see if it's going to work or not. And I don't know any other way to test it other than to build at least one panel. So, and of course, the whole idea of putting a stepper on it was so I could make it move by itself. So I could close it with a MQTT command or open it. And all I need is one, if every 3 meter section, so there's 3 of them, so 9 meters in total, if each one has a little clip at the end, so when it goes along, it just needs one stepper, because that one stepper motor, right, if it's positioned in the right place, if it makes it open all the way, its clip will pull the other ones along, right? And the same the other way. So anyway, haven't done it. I bought stacks of bearings. They work really well. It's really smooth. And so I've confirmed that all this will work, but I don't have any. This is the longest piece I've got of 2040. And for some reason now, when you're buying the stuff from China, no one will ship anything longer than 1 meter now. I used to buy 1.5 meter lengths, 1.2, 1.5 from China, and no one will ship it. I found one supplier that will ship 1.2 meter lengths at 4 times the price than what I can buy them here. So it's just not worth it. But yeah, extrusion is expensive, right? So anyway, that's what this is. Whoop. Works really well, but I just need to construct the whole thing. Anyway, and I wanted to do it in a way that it didn't have to physically attach to the ceiling. No, that's the thing. I don't want to put a track on the ceiling. The ceiling isn't perfectly straight or flat, and there's no place that lines up directly above. Like I'd have to screw into just the tiles. No, not going to work. So, and I wanted to do it in a way that I could just literally pull it off and disassemble it and have, 30 meters of extrusion for other things. If I ever needed to pull it down, if I ever needed to move out or whatever else, I didn't want to build something that was attached to the ceiling that was going to damage the ceiling if I took it down. I mean, I was going to say in hindsight, it would have been cool if I had one of these rails here lined up directly above. I don't, but I don't know how they would have done that anyway, because it's got to start in a corner somewhere. So there's no real way of attaching it to the top. No, not really. I mean, if it was something thin that just kind of, sat in, right? Just to give it a bit of something, little 3D printed clips, maybe I could attach them. This stuff's not, it's not solid. Like it's really, I don't know. Maybe with the screws, the plastic ones that when you screw them in, they have the thing that pop out up top to hold it in. Maybe, I don't know. But what I don't want to do is have to go and replace all the tiles. We're talking about a lot of tiles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tiles I'd have to destroy and replace. I could do it, sure. But it's but that's what all that stuff was that's been sitting there for ages. And it's something that I need to have a chunk of money that I'm prepared to throw at it to try it. And right now, with component prices going up, so all my shipping prices went up. Australia Post lifted their prices on 1st of January, which is really nice of them. And they said what they did was they didn't just do a one price up everywhere. They were very careful in trying to impact people as little as possible with their price increases. And it turns out that, so where they did target them, is exactly where my customer base is. So I now have to decide if I'm going to. So I've not upped my prices of my products ever. Like, so some might remember during COVID and the silicon shortage, I had to lift my prices on some of my boards by a couple of bucks. I did that for a little while, for like about 2 or 3 months, but I managed to get them back down again. So, like when I launched Tiny Pico, it was 20 bucks, and it's still 20 bucks, and it's been 5 years, 6 years almost, and I've never put my prices up. And shipping's been going up and up and up and up, and I've never put my prices up of shipping. I think once I've put my prices up of shipping. And now I'm in a situation where my components are going up in price, some of my components, and shipping's gone up. So shipping to the US went up 14%. I don't understand why. Maybe because the tariff situation, the contention between our stupid idiot Prime Minister and Trump. So I don't know, but shipping to the US has gone up. I think it's 15% for express and 12% for standard. I just averaged it between the two. So I have to decide if I'm going to up my shipping. Like I make a loss on shipping. I was already making a loss on probably 50% of my shipping, like the higher end European stuff. Higher end meaning like express post to Europe. I was already losing a couple of bucks per package. I'm at a point now with this price increase that not only do I not even cover the packaging cost. So when I ship something out, you know, for those that have bought off me, the black padded bag and the bubble wrap inside, or the black box, right? I don't even cover those, and I was still losing $1 or $2 on some of the shipping. I'm now losing money on every product that goes out the door shipping wise, and not cover even the cost on those. So that just comes off the profit of the products. It's fine if someone's, you know, buying $100, $200 worth of products, but when someone buys one $20 board and I have to package that the same way and ship it out, I end up making no money on that one board. So yeah, I have to decide if I'm just going to go through and just lift all my. I mean, it's already, shipping costs are just exorbitant. It's just, you know, the prices went up for COVID and they've just never come down. It's just a rort now. Like, you know, these companies worked out that they could charge this much and people are going to pay it anyway, so they just kept it. And you know, Australia Post keep lifting their prices, going, we need to lift our prices to keep the value of our whatever, like, you know, our service and whatever. But they don't have good customer service. They've got shit customer service. Anyway, you have to lift price of the shipping. That sucks, but running a loss isn't sustainable. Yeah, I know it's not sustainable, but it's anyway. And my shipping's complex. Like I don't just go and hit a button and all my shipping's updated. I have to go through manually into every shipping zone for every weight break, for every whatever, and manually go and update them all. I have to recalculate them all. And so what Australia Post don't do is they don't ever give you a list, here's all the price increases per section. They just say, here are all the new prices, and they give it to you in a PDF that doesn't give you the prices based on your discount rates. Yeah, discount breaks. So every time they do that, I have to go and take all this data from a PDF. I wrote some Python to import all of this data, right? And it's not even a format. They're in tables, but they're not formatted in a way that you can just copy and paste the data and it'll go into a spreadsheet nicely, right? And then I grab all this data, I put it in, and then I run all this processing on it to try to recalculate a new price, because they don't tell me how much it's gone up, so I can put it up that much. I have to go and compare the old price to the new price. Like, it's seriously, they are so. Anyway, they're going to help with the sealing thing. Potted magnets attach an A channel where the metal crosses the T's. It's been in place before. Oh, interesting. Okay, I hadn't thought of that. So a magnet, so a rail attached by magnets to the cross things. Okay, yep, that could work. Although I don't know how I'd get up there to do it. I mean, I know how I'd get up there to do it, but I'd end up falling off the other side and killing myself. Okay, I'll speak to you about it, Lachlan. Thanks. Cable tie. That's right, you were all unwell as well. This was a shocking COVID, my worst I've had. Still recovering. I hope you're doing okay. That is an API web service you can use to accurate pricing. There are third-party ones that you can use. You got to pay for their service, like Ship-it or whatever else, to use their pricing calculators to be able to do a dynamic pricing on a product. But that's just crazy. So I got to pay $150 a month, $100 a month to get access to this API to be able to calculate a price. I don't do enough volume to justify that. Hey Mad Techie, how you doing? What did you miss? Nothing. It's a boring stream. I'm just talking. Excuse me. Just filling everyone in on what's been going on and poor me, how sick I've been and whatever. Yeah, it's been a long time. Peter, hope you're doing okay. Hope work's good. Yeah, there's been bad sickness going around, viruses and cold and flu and COVID and yeah. Flynn was off school last week. He was sick. He didn't test positive to COVID, but he was pretty sick. He lost his voice. Thank God. Oh, it was a quiet house for like a week. Amazing. Unfortunately, he's got his voice back now. Anyway, yeah. Sounds like when you got pissed at the tier 1 computer suppliers all decided to put their warranty lookups behind a third-party paywall. There's been days building my own just because I was mad. Well, I didn't have a choice but to build my own. Like, I just need to calculate the pricing. Yeah, it's not transparent the way they do stuff. It's just really frustrating. So, yeah, anyway, it is what it is. I'll have to go through and manually just work out what all the different percentages are. I'm going to have to lift my prices on shipping. Or just wear it. I don't know. Yeah, and I still don't know what I'm going to do about this fuel gauge increase in price. The issue isn't the price I sell my boards for at retail. The issue is the price I sell my boards for at wholesale. So, yeah, I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to adjust my pricing, my wholesale pricing, which is just going to annoy. So you look at like someone like Adafruit who have now just been hit with the 10% tariff for all of my products coming into the country because of the tariffs, US tariffs. So anything that comes in from Australia now, it has an automatic 10% on it. Unless it's steel or aluminium, and then it has a 45%, whatever it is. So they've had to lift all their prices by 10% for all my products anyway, right? So the higher the price of my product, the less they sell. And so if I have to lift my prices as well, that's just a double burn. Other similar products you're talking about for the pricing of shipping? There's quite a few tools out there that do it, but they have to integrate with the different stores, and then they all have a subscription you got to pay for, and they all do it dynamically. So if I decide to not pay, Oh, fuel gauges. No, I can't find any other fuel gauges. And I can't change them. Like I can't mid, I can't take a product that's already shipping with one type of fuel gauge and then change it. Um, not just from a hardware point of view, but also from a software support point of view. So, yeah. Hopefully they'll come down in price again for whatever, I don't know why they went up, but hopefully they'll come down. And if they don't, they don't. And I'll just have to wear it. Or wear it meaning I'll have to just deal with it. I'll have to just up my prices. Yeah, don't know. We'll see what happens. Like Adafruit asked me, they said, "Are your prices going up?" And I said no. And now I'm gonna have to go back to them and say some. Not all of my products have a fuel gauge on it, but the ones that do, I'll have to work something out. I don't know. On some boards I might be able to wear it. On some boards I won't, and I'll have to, split the difference. Anyway, it's frustrating. Like if I knew why, if there was a reason why they were going up. I'm just kicking myself that I just didn't, that I'd forgotten how many I had left. Maybe if I would have ordered earlier, I would have got the older price. Anyway, it is what it is. So that's about it, folks. I wish I could tell you that I've been working on some really cool things behind the scenes, other than this secret stuff. Yeah, but I haven't been. I've had plans to. I've had plans to get back to my Gara robot. I've had plans to finish my Omni controller stuff. I've had so many plans, so many plans, and to think I could just find the time to do it, nope, nope, just can't seem to find the time. Yeah, so I might quickly give you a look at just where I'm at with SQUiXL, and then might call the stream, unless there's other stuff people want to talk about. I'm happy to do that too. This is my SQUiXL. So there's not a huge amount that's changed. A lot of under the hood stuff. You can now swipe when it's, so this is a really silly thing, but if the screen was dull, like if the backlight was lower, when you touch the screen to brighten it, it would block you from swiping. So anyway, swiping's snappier now. Like it's quicker to get through pages. I relayed out this whole settings stuff. I don't know how many of you. I can't remember the last time I showed any of this stuff. Sorry about the reflection of my hand in the screen. I don't know how many of you used the open weather stuff. They're changing their API, and they're moving away from saying what is the weather at this city and country, and they're moving it to what is the weather at this longitude and latitude. And then they provide an API where you pass it the city and the country, and it gives you the longitude and latitude, and you have to query the longitude and latitude. So you can still query the old way, which I'm still doing right now, but they said that it's not going to be updated and they can't guarantee the data is going to be correct. So I built in the ability that it now grabs the longitude and latitude, and you can also type them in, but you can also force it to find it. If you click on this, and it'll actually go and find your longitude and latitude based on that. Also fills your state in. So that's pretty cool. I added, I can't remember if I mentioned, I added NTP server. You can put your own server in. Local DNS, or you could use, it says default is your DHCP DNS, but if you turn that on, it'll override it with 1.1.1.1 and 8.8.8.8, whatever. Nothing new there. Widgets. Did I show you the BME 280 support? I can't remember. What did I show last time? I'll show you that in a moment. I've enabled MQTT interface here. The web settings has the place where you put all your notifications, like all your publishing and listening topics and stuff. So one of the things that I've added, which is kind of cool, I had my on-screen keyboard before. Oh, keyboard fades in and out now. You see that? And animates in. Oh, look at that. Anyway, so here's on, is that in focus? Here's an on-screen keyboard. That's what I had before, right? So that has the uppercase, lowercase, and the whatever extended character set. But now you can tell the text box or the property what it is. So I've now got numbers only keyboard. Woo! So to stop people from putting alpha into a field that shouldn't have an alpha in it. So I've got two different keyboard types, and it dynamically switches it. It's the same keyboard API, but dynamically changes it. So that's pretty cool. And oh, I should turn. Let me plug in. Let's grab this. I'm just taking a BME 280. I think this one might work. We'll see. If I plug it in. I don't know if it'll pick it up. I don't know if I've got it enabled in this build. No, it's IPv4 only. No, it's actually not ASCII only, but it's not the full extended character set. No. I mean, let's be realistic. It's a it's an MCU with an on-screen keyboard. I'm just gonna reset it and see what happens. I might have it disabled on here. It should have automatically picked that up, but we'll see. We'll see what it does. Oh, it might not be finding it because of the address. I don't know what the address on this one is, actually. Let me find the one I was testing with. Oh no, where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay. Maybe this one. Try this one. I could have just flicked the address, actually. I need to look at the logs. Nope, nope. Yep. So maybe I've commented it out. I think I did. BME 280. Oh, it's commented out in this. Why have I commented it out? Oh no, it's not commented out. Oh, wait. It is. Okay, I have no idea why. I've commented out on this build. Wonder if I've commented out on the live build. That's gonna suck. Paul! Hello, Paul. Been away too long. I hope you're well. Which bought on Bling. Yeah, Bling's got super dense LEDs. I can actually get them closer now. My Feather S3. Who was that? Unexpected debug. Thanks, Matt. Where's OBS? The actual pitch on my Feather S3 Neo is even closer. But I couldn't do it on Bling because I needed space to put the components on the back. So I needed those extra gap. But yeah, I could get them closer. This is not. Why is this not compiling? Oh, because I didn't include it. I have a feeling that this is disabled in the current live build. Whoops. In alpha 0.6. That sucks. I'll have to push the build out. Okay, just refreshing. Sorry. That is crazy. That could be why it's not working for me. Right, yeah, I don't know why I commented out. Obviously, I commented out for whatever reason when I was doing something and I forgot to put it back on again. So, whoops. Okay, booting. That's embarrassing. Let's see if it works this time. There it is. So you can see the BME. It shows you the temperature and it'll cycle between humidity and pressure. And if you unplug it, it will eventually go away. And if you plug it back in, if I can find the hole. No comments, please. I don't know if I put that in. It should, oh, there it is. Yep. It'll re-find it, and so it'll only show if it finds it. It'll poll for it if it can't find it. So it's just kind of a dynamic. So it's just the first add-on-y thing. Technically, I can do this for any other. Anyway, there's that, and then the other thing I wanted to show, I've been working on getting the MQTT data back in. If I go to this window, I can't get out right now. But I'll show you anyway. So this is grabbing. This looks like such a nothing screen, but oh my God, this was hard to do. So this is just, the reason I can't get out is because I'm working on this, making it scrollable, right? And I haven't finished yet. So right now it's capturing all of the dragging, and it's not discarding what it doesn't need yet, but it's also not moving it yet, so which is annoying. But so Larry's library doesn't have any way of doing like a clipping rectangle. So excuse me, the way libraries like Adafruit's library or TFT ESPI library works, the way they do clipping, where you could say, you know, put something on the screen, but clip it by this rectangle. So, you know, you can draw the whole screen, but it'll only show what's inside the rectangle. The way they do all that is that every single one of their functions ultimately goes through a draw pixel function, right? To get the pixel on there. And it's at that draw pixel function where they determine if it's inside or outside the clipping area, right? So that automatically means that if someone creates a clipping area, any any of the
Alan
API.
Madsen says, I think you removed debug from the last live stream to see how many FPS you could get out of it.
No, there wasn't a debug thing. It was for the BME. Is that what you're talking about? No, the actual widget wasn't being loaded. Like it wasn't. I commented out adding the widget to the thing. Anyway, so Larry's library can't do that because he doesn't work that same way. We're like pretty much all of the API for this is literally taking pixel data, like from a buffer, and stomping it to pixel data, right? So there's no concept of a pixel. There's no concept of where it is. It's just here's a chunk of data, and shove it to here, which is why it's so fast, and why his library is way faster than the other libraries, just in general, on any device. But you couldn't do it per pixel the way they do it on a screen like this, because there's too many pixels. It would be so slow. So you've used the battery monitor. Right, well, you can't get them anymore either. They don't make those, Beata. So, and also it wasn't a very good battery monitor. It was unreliable results. So the Max is a much better one. Anyway, so I can't do a clipping rectangle on here, which means to make the contents of this thing scroll and clip behind, there's actually no way of doing that. So on your site, thought you'd done screen from scratch. Full stack from sand. No. On the island? What island are you on? What? I thought you were just super busy working. Well, where have you moved to? What island? You're living on a volcanic island. Sorry. So the way I've had to do this, right, is this whole screen, so it looks like it's a screen, but it's a scroll area control that's just taking up the whole screen right now. So everything you see here is part of this scroll area control. And what it does is it draws it all without the text there, draws it all into a buffer, and then it cuts it all up. So a top, a bottom, a left and a right, and a content area. So it turns it into 5 sprites. And so now what I can do is when I draw the text into the content sprite, which is like a little window section in the middle here, that's inside the corners, the curved areas and stuff, then I can draw outside of that sprite, and anything that's outside it won't get drawn, but whatever's inside it will, which is, it looks like it's being clipped for the screen, but it's not. It's just outside the bounds of that sprite. So this is all being drawn by 5 different sprites. And that's how I'm faking the whole clip area stuff. Oh my God, to get the maths right on this took me a long time. But, because it's got to be able to scale, right? If someone says, I want to do a scroll UI, but I want it to be only like, half the width of the screen and only 2/3 down, it's got to do the same thing, but only in that section, right? Anyway, so I got as far as getting that working and putting content in there. And so if I go plug this in, I need a USB cable. So I'm just plugging in one of my monitors boards. I was playing with MQT. You'll see that will pop up on there. So that's a live list, but I'm only parsing the data and just putting it in text format by now. What got to run? Choppiness is doing my head in. Take care. Catch you later, Paul. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. Glad you're still around, kicking. Well, I'd love to know what island you're living on. Okay, that should pop in eventually. I don't know what I've got the MQTT timing to. Unless I broke it. It's also possible. Yes, but we have no one to count, Paul. There's no one to count. I don't know what my update time is. Must be in the minutes. It'll eventually pop in. Oh, there it goes. See, it's in there now. So now my office, that's my office sensor, is showing what the 18.92 degrees in here, 15 degrees downstairs. Wonderful. So the next step is to fix the scrolling on this and then be able to display other things, not just text, but whatever inside that scroll window. They could be widgets, they could be whatever. So that's all happening. It's all happening, but it's I'm just going to reset that. Slow going. I've been working on the MicroPython stuff as well. Okay, I think before I have a full-on coughing fit that, yeah, I think we're going to stop there. As I said, I'm sorry it wasn't overly exciting. Next week I'll have a lot more to talk about. Assuming I get all this done and out. I can't talk about it till I do the announcement. Yeah, you'll understand. Lots of complexity. You'll understand when it happens. Okay, folks, I'm going to go. I need to go have a coughing fit downstairs. I hope you all have a great day, week. Gildi's excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. How many weeks did no stream for? Was it 3 weeks? No streams? I think it was 3 weeks. It's my daughter's fault. She brought it home. We didn't even know she had COVID until we all got sick. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. Yaz is still also sick. We're both of us coughing crazy. Anyway, have a great week, everyone. And I will, yeah, hopefully next week, some exciting news. Cool. Let me know what you do with it, Bruce. Or if you do or you don't. Yeah, kids. Germ factories, absolutely. 100%. So, oh. Sorry, everyone. I'm just trying to read the chat. Whatever. Goodbye. Next week, maybe something more exciting. Fingers crossed. Thanks for watching. Bye everyone.